Buhari's government dragged to Ecowas court over Twitter ban. Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, and 176 concerned Nigerians have filed a lawsuit against the government of President Muhammadu Buhari over the unlawful suspension of Twitter in Nigeria, criminalization of Nigerians and other people using Twitter, and the escalating repression of human rights, particularly the rights to freedom of expression, access to information, and media freedom in the country. Following the deletion of President Muhammadu Buhari's tweet, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, last week announced the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria. The government has also threatened to arrest and prosecute anyone using Twitter in the country, while the NBC, National Broadcasting Commission, has asked all broadcast stations to suspend the patronage of Twitter. In the suit, ECW CCJ-APP 2321 filed today before Ecowas Community Court of Justice in Abuja, SERAP, and the concerned Nigerians are seeking an order of interim injunction restraining the federal government from implementing a suspension of Twitter in Nigeria and subjecting anyone, including media houses, broadcast stations, using Twitter in Nigeria to harassment, intimidation, arrest, and criminal prosecution pending the hearing and determination of the substantive suit. In the suit filed by solicitor to SERAP, Femi Falana SAN, the plaintiffs contend that if this application is not urgently granted, the federal government will continue to arbitrarily suspend Twitter and threaten to impose criminal and other sanctions on Nigerians, telecommunication companies, media houses, broadcast stations, and other people using Twitter in Nigeria. The perpetual order sought in this suit might be rendered nugatory. The suit read in part, the suspension of Twitter is aimed at intimidating and stopping Nigerians from using Twitter and other social media platforms to assess government policies, expose corruption, and criticize acts of official impunity by the agents of the federal government. The free communication of information and ideas about public and political issues between citizens and elected representatives is essential. This implies a free press and other media able to comment on public issues without censor or restraint and to inform public opinion. The public also has a corresponding right to receive media output. Freedom of expression is a fundamental human right, and the full enjoyment of this is central to achieving individual freedom and to developing democracy. It is not only the cornerstone of democracy, but indispensable to a thriving civil society. The arbitrary action by the federal government and its agents have negatively impacted millions of Nigerians who carry on their daily businesses and operational activities on Twitter. The suspension has also impeded the freedom of expression of millions of Nigerians who criticize and influence government policies through the microblogging app. The suspension of Twitter is arbitrary, and there is no law in Nigeria today permitting the prosecution of people for simply peacefully exercising their human rights through Twitter and other social media platforms. Wow. Okay. The suspension and threat of prosecution by the federal government constitute a fundamental breach of the country's international human rights obligations under the Article 9 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and Article 19 of International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Nigeria is a state party. I mean, it goes into very much great detail, but I think it has definitely covered everything. It has covered what we are Nigerians are talking about, and honestly, hopefully something will come out of it. I think the main thing is that we try and we've taken this. Because again, if nothing comes out of this, then yeah, that is very much. But the thing is, this is ECOWAS court. So this is like West African states, okay? So it's not just Nigeria. But again, it's like hopefully the other West African states can also see the sense in what Nigerians are saying. Again, I just think it is so evidently clear. There is no justifiable evidence as to why Twitter should be banned. Again, as they have highlighted, this is an act to impose, censorship, and of course, limit freedom of expression, as well as, prevent the people from actually having a say on how the government, or basically government criticisms, as they should criticize, because again, the power lies in the people. The people decide who they want to lead them, and you being a leader means you are serving the people who put you in that position. Therefore, they have a right to commend or criticize whatever you do in that power. Why? Because you are serving them. That is it. And they are even paying you as well. They are. Because the people make up the country, they make up the riches in the country, because they're the ones who are working, they're the ones who are innovative, they're the ones who are bringing investment, and they are the workers. So again, they make money from the country's resources and their skills to pay you to make the right decisions on their behalf. That is it. Very much embarrassing. And again, you have to understand that, okay, fine, we're in a democracy, but then are we really in a democracy? Is our mentality in a democracy? Because again, the people in government because if you compare, Nigeria has not been a democracy as long as it's been a military state, or a military-like government where the military is in power. So again, you have to understand that if you have leaders who were there and were in their prime during the military era and were basically leading a dictatorship and a still kleptocratic government. So again, it's just like, how do you expect them to transition that easily? See, in their mentality and their mindset, it would not be fully democratic, would it? And also, as Nigerians as well, if you're older and you were there or you were alive during the, era of the military era, maybe you yourself, you have to unlearn some things that are very much unlike a democratic government, and that's just what it is. So again, and my question is, as Nigerians, do we really understand the benefits to what a democracy is and what it provides for us? Because if you really understand, I think that would, to a large extent, I mean, of course, again, people are hungry, okay? This is not their concern. But of course, I think to a large extent, it would just be common and basic for us to understand that there is no point trying to make each other suffer. We have rights and we do deserve to live good lives. And this mentality of hardship and, not hard work, unnecessary hardship to your daily life, it's just unnecessary. That's what it is. That is all it is. So, there's a lot to tackle in this country as to, the origins of why we are like this. But then again, it's the Ecowas Court. So hopefully, our African brothers and sisters, especially in West Africa, can be open enough to understand what the plight of Nigerians are. Put what you think about it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.